All right, good day, everybody. Steve Prasbrowski here with you. Episode 55, Reach for the Firefighter Badge. Episode 55, we're going to discuss social media, something very popular in today's world and very deadly to a lot of careers, even before they start. So this episode is going to discuss 5 reasons that social media may keep you from getting hired as a firefighter. So let's get going and share the ideas and share the experiences. So, excuse me. As a reminder, my 2 websites, code3firetraining.com as well as ShabotFire.com, have lots of great lots of great free resources on there to help you be the best you can be. Also, these webinars are based on 2 of the 3 books I've had published, both of which are available off my website. So let's talk about social media. I think by now we all know what social media is, and unless you've lived in a cave, you know what social media is. You may not be on every platform or understand every platform, but you understand hopefully the concept. So this is based on an article I wrote for Firehouse Magazine about a year or 2 ago. It's found on my website, ShabotFire.com. So feel free to go to ShabotFire.com, click the free stuff link for more details. But basically, these are reasons why sometimes candidates are not getting hired, or maybe getting even worse, fired once they're on the job. Yeah, this is a big issue today in today's world, where a lot of people hang their hat on, well, I have the right to free speech. You know, the First Amendment, free speech. True, but there's another part of that we'll talk about in another episode. You have a right to free speech, but your employer also has the right to basically hold you accountable for what you say. There was just a story in the news the other day, Mobile, Alabama, 3 firefighters fired because of their racist posts on Facebook, on social media. And the fire chief pretty much pulled that up and said, sorry, we're firing them. And I know that people say they can't do that, they have the right to free speech. But his basic point was, you know what? Yeah, you have the right to free speech, but in the bigger picture, as a civil servant, you're held to a higher standard. And now by you guys saying that, and because you're linked to your departments, as is known, you're now casting a huge shadow, I guess, or huge negative light on the Mobile, Alabama Fire Department. And that's unfair for the other members that are doing the right thing. So that's not an isolated incident. It's almost daily I see something in the news of a firefighter or police officer, or it isn't just governmental workers, it's private company workers. You know, there was one of the things going on out here in the Bay Area. It seems like, especially in San Francisco, there was a gentleman that had he was painting Black Lives Matter on the front of his house. And this white couple basically says, hey, you can't do that. And he's like, it's my house. I can paint whatever I want on the front of it. And they're like, well, you don't live there and blah, blah, blah. And he's filming all this stuff. And they're sitting there screaming, acting like a bunch of babies and idiots. And next thing you know, pretty much her husband gets fired from his job because obviously on social media, it's usually not too difficult to put 2 and 2 together. Hey, that's so-and-so, that's John Smith, he works for so-and-so. And the individual's employer fired him, and he wasn't even the one doing all the talking. The wife was the one talking all the smack to this gentleman about his Black Lives Matter sign. He was just trying to show support. I mean, it's his property, he has the right to do that. And this lady was basically saying that. Now, she owned her own company, so she didn't get fired, but now her company was getting a barrage of obviously negative publicity through social media, the internet. She had to shut her website down. If she had worked for somebody basically and was not her own boss, she probably would have been fired too. And we're seeing more and more. And I know that people go, well, that sucks. That's, they're off duty. They're not, why does Google care about what their employees do off duty? Well, if they can connect you to their employer, that has the potential to make their employer look bad. And if they don't do anything about it, it makes the employer look like they tolerate that behavior or they condone that behavior. We're not going to get into a big discussion here, but it's happening. So be aware of what you're doing. That's why I want to share some of these tips and suggestions. So it's a great resource if used properly. It's a great way to stay updated on various things. I used to shy away from social media because I was fearful of, I don't know what, I guess I was naive. But then I also realized that as I get older in life, I don't want to be the old guy that one of our guys I used to work with who's retired, he never got into that stuff. And he always confused Facebook with MySpace. And I don't know if he was doing it on purpose or if that was just him. But he's like, well, yeah, FaceSpace and my book. And it's just, and we all laughed at him. He's like, what's so funny, guys? And I don't want to be that way because, again, it's easy for folks that are older or a different generation to talk crap about another generation. But you know what? Just like there's older folks talking crap about the younger generations may be talking crap about the older folks. I don't want to be that guy that's lost touch with society and that's so out of touch that what the hell's that newfangled thing? I mean, no, you want to be engaged. So it's good to stay in touch. Obviously, you've got to do your fact checking and everything else, but it can also kill your career before it starts or any time during, even when you're off probation. I see it every day. So ways to kill a career, as I shared in the article. Number one, inappropriate posts, not just current posts. Let's say it was something 3-4 years ago. We're seeing right now a lot of posts from sometimes 15 years ago from celebrities, athletes, or maybe prominent officials, governors, city council members, fire chiefs, police chiefs, someone that's in the news, because again, the internet, nothing ever gets deleted. And it's not uncommon to have this stuff pop up. And then all of a sudden, hey, 20 years ago when you were in college, yeah, you were 18 years old, or maybe even worse, younger. That's not worse, just different. Let's say you were 14 years old in high school and you said something racist or sexist or just totally inappropriate. You can't use the excuse, well, I was in high school back then, or I was in college, I was stupid, I was immature, and I'm 30s, 40s now. It don't work that way. The court of public opinion does not give you a pass. That's just the way things work. So, I mean, for some people, I'm glad social media was not around 20 years ago, because we all know those people that we grew up with or hang out with going, oh man, I'm glad there was no social media. I'm glad we weren't videotaping the stuff and putting it on YouTube or TikTok or somewhere else, because again, that stuff never goes away. And then next thing you know, your future or current employer is seeing that and going, is that you? Yeah, maybe. Sure looks like you. Sorry, we can't have that. We can't have you be a representative of our company, our department. So do your best. When you're trying to become a firefighter, I can't stress enough to Google yourself. Don't just Google, use every search engine possible, because you'll get different hits. See what comes up. I know some people say, well, I'll make my social media private so no one can see it. Well, guess what? When they get to a background investigation, as we've talked about in other episodes, they're going to look at your social media pages more than likely. And there's a good chance, and I don't do backgrounds, I'm not a trained investigator, but there's also a good chance that they could access your private. Well, how will they access that? Well, they may not ask you for a password, but they may say, hey, can you open it up or can you make it public just so we can see? And any connection to you and something that's just totally inappropriate, especially for today's world, because think about it. There may be there was probably a lot of things that say 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago or more were acceptable for the times, but you can't do them today. It's just not, certain things are just not tolerated in today's society. And you know what? You've got to make sure that you're setting the right course for yourself, because I don't want your career killed before it even started, let alone killed during it. So, spend as much, you spend so much time on it, you forget the second way to kill a career, you spend so much time on it that you forget what human contact is like. It's not just kill a career, it's kill a relationship at home with your friends. So many people in today's world are just so focused on the phone, and I get it, but you got to have human contact. A number of years ago, I remember I was at the firehouse getting ready for dinner, and I remember I'm talking with one of the firefighters, the other one's cooking, and there's a couple other firefighters back, and they're, doing whatever. And I remember the cook tells the other firefighter I'm talking to, he goes, oh, hey, whatever. He goes, can you go call them on the public address system? Because each station usually has a PA system on their phone, get on the thing and say, hey, chow's on, dinner's on, whatever. Well, the firefighter, without missing a beat, he just gets on his phone and he starts doing this. And then the cook goes, hey, dude, I thought I told you to call. He goes, I did, I texted them. Okay. And then it's even worse. I see sometimes people texting each other in person. It's like, seriously, you don't want to hold a conversation? I get there's a lot of great value to texting and social media, but if you're someone that has trouble now socially interacting and you're basically socially awkward, as many people are, that can hurt you. Because again, you got to go to an interview, you got to go to a chief's interview. Part of your probationary process is being assigned to a firehouse and with a crew of people to see if you can fit in with the team. And if all you want to do is look at your phone all day, you're not going to be a good teammate. Well, they do it too. Well, it doesn't make it right if they're doing it, but it's a balance. or you spend so much time on it that it takes away from your time to do your needed things in a timely manner. I mean, everyone jokes that social media is a great time killer. It can be, but it's about balance, just like anything else. But number 4 here, your emails and other forms of written communication look like your text messages. This is something that drives me up a wall. Is I try not to have in my text messages, and I get it. Text messages don't have a lot of, there's only so many characters depending on the provider that you have. But I know a lot of people abbreviate or use short, LOL or K for copy or whatever in your text message. Okay, that's probably fine in your text message, but then they tend to email using the same language. And it's like, what the hell are they talking about? A professional email to your chief, your captain, whoever, and you're sitting there writing it like a text message? Or even knowing your audience. It's okay and cool maybe to text with K for copy or OMG or whatever short and abbreviated terms to your buddies, your friends, but I wouldn't do that maybe to professional people. Now, many professional people may not be texting you, but they may be emailing you. So be careful with that. So you got to have an edit feature to know the difference of when to say when and when to do the appropriate method. But unfortunately, some people don't have an edit feature. They write emails like they text. Also, not taking the plunge into social media in the first place. Now, just like it can get you in trouble. Now, not being on social media, my wife always jokes, hey, you know what? Her joke always is, because she hates social media. She's like, you know what? She goes, if you ever hear of me sending anything inappropriate through my social media account, someone obviously hacked me and created an account because it wasn't me. And it's sort of like, yeah. And that's not a big deal. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that don't get into social media, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think you're missing out on a lot of value. As long as you're able to have an edit feature and not just be the person that always texts or sends by emotion. We live in a very emotional time for a number of reasons, and it's so easy for some people just to immediately pick up the phone and resist the urge. And that's why a lot of people, I see a lot of posts that just drive me crazy. Maybe they're political related, or they're just whatever, people just on their bandwagon or fighting something. It's like, you know what? I ain't got time for that. But unfortunately, some people have to engage. They just, hey, you know what? Move away. Learn to fight another day. But once you engage, that's when you set yourself up for disaster. You're not going to win the battle of the keyboard. So in the next episode, number 56, we're going to discuss more about social media and how many already on the job and in all industries are getting themselves into such hot water that it costs them their job and or severely hurts their credibility. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression, as they say. So with that, my closing information, my contact information, and my social media footprint, speaking of, thank you very much, everybody. Hope you all have a great day. Y'all take care, and we'll talk soon. Thank you, as always, for the gift of your time, everybody.